all of a sudden, it seems like everybody and their mom, hi mom, want to look like a farmer who just got done from a long day working them fields. That's right, I am talking about mud wash denim jeans. Now this is a hyper specific thing to be a trend in my opinion, and honestly it was a concept that I wasn't that familiar with. Like, sure, I've seen dirty jeans, but it was only pretty recently, the past year or two, that I've heard people specifically talking about getting that mud wash look. I would say the first time it really entered my awareness is when the brand Enfants Riches Deprimes a couple years ago started doing more like damaged painter's jeans with, they specified, a mud wash process. And the popularity of that brand has also coincided, maybe coincidentally, maybe not, with the re-rise of Japanese archive brands, especially the bohemian punk Japanese brand If 6 Was 9. Now for years, decades I would say at this point, If 6 Was 9 has been making a style of jeans that they call the Mud Max. Now there are various versions of the If 6 Was 9 Mud Max, but all of them are crazy popular, crazy expensive. People are just flipping them. Archive resellers are going crazy for them. They're everywhere. And I have to say, it took me a while to get it. Why are people so obsessed with dirty jeans? Well, of course, you can look back at the history of the past couple decades of clothing even more to see that people have always, in the modern era at least, been somewhat attracted to distressed, pre-used looking styles. Vivienne Westwood and Malcolm McLaren, her husband at the time, were essentially stylists for the Sex Pistols, the first punk band, or maybe just the biggest punk band. And that stuff was tattered, dirty, messy muslin and cotton t-shirts and stuff like that. And since then, you've seen brand after brand after brand try their own hand at really making a piece look like it's not luxury. It's like so many layers of meta. Like you've got a luxury piece, but then you make it look like crap. So most people think it's not luxury, but then people who really know it, like an if you know, you know type of thing, they're like, oh, that's a luxury that's made to look like crap, and that makes me like it more and think it's even more luxury. Like I think this whole mud wash thing, the mud distressed aesthetic, potentially hit its peak a couple of years ago when Balenciaga did their mud show. That's the one that Kanye West walked in, although they scrubbed that image from the internet. Listen, Balenciaga, we know that Kanye West was an integral part of your runway show. You can't hide from us. So all of these years and decades of designers and brands going through the motions, trying to find the best way to make their pieces look as bad as possible, has led to this kind of apex right now of people really wanting mud wash denim. And the If 6 Was 9 Mud Maxes have to be considered the epitome of that wash. But the problem is, they're so damn expensive. Like, if you are really on a budget and you're wheeling and dealing, maybe you can get some If 6 Was 9 Mud Maxes for $600. $500 to $700, let's say. But really, if you want a good pair in a good size, in a good style, you're probably looking closer to $1,000 or more for one of the most coveted designs. Now that puts it well out of reach for the average person who just wants a cool looking dirty pair of jeans, you know what I mean? But there are things that make the If 6 Was 9 Mud Maxes so special beyond just the wash, and it is that cut that they've got. Most of them are very kind of like skinny, especially up top, maybe low rise, but then with flared legs, sometimes even full-on bell-bottom legs. And then they'll add things like sometimes lace-up closure for the fly, things like that, piercings, distressing, all sorts of stuff. So I had to know, what makes these If 6 Was 9 jeans so special? Why do people like them so much? Because I'd never had a pair myself. But I also wanted to see, are there alternatives out there? Can you get the If 6 Was 9 denim style without paying If 6 Was 9 prices? So I have got 4 pairs of jeans here. Yeah, 4. Okay. I have an older, more iconic pair of If 6 Was 9 Mud Max jeans right here, but then I also have a new pair of black If 6 Was 9 lace-up jeans here that I got directly from the brand, but both of these are quite expensive, so throwing those away, we've also got some alternatives. We have a pair from Civiliz and a pair from Goa, G-O-A. And I think you'll really like what both of these have to offer at a much, much lower price than If 6 Was 9. So with all that said, are you ready to dive into this crazy world and try and understand with me why people love this Japanese denim? Do you want to try and figure out with me why people are charging so much for it? And can we glean the reason why people are digging back into the archives of these Japanese brands that were super under the radar even when they existed 20 years ago? It's gonna be a crazy one. Let's dive in. But first, I'm gonna need you all to go subscribe to my Patreon. If you want access to my super secret Discord where I post stuff for sale that I've featured on the channel, you gotta get in there. If you want exclusive videos like the one that I just posted this past week, you gotta get in there. And if you want to be shouted out in videos, like for instance, thank you Henry K, get into that Patreon. The link is in the description. All right, 4 pairs of jeans, so little time. We got to work our way through these, and I think we should start with the big boys, the If 6 Was 9 denim, see what the kind of mainstay is, see what makes it a mainstay, and then see if our alternatives can live up to it. So I think we start with the legit Mud Maxes. These are as classic as it gets. So what you are looking at here is an authentic pair of If 6 Was 9 Mud Max SBB denim jeans. Now, what does that mean? The BB is quite clearly for bell bottom. Now, not every pair of Mud Maxes has this aggressive of a flare at the ankle, but the SBBs most certainly do, and it is some people's favorite variant of these jeans. So clearly that is the most striking element of this pair, but that's not all they have to them. So starting all the way back up at the top, first of all, you can see it is an extremely low rise, probably the lowest rise pair of jeans I've ever had. The fly is basically non-existent, but you've got a nice button there, and it's a button closure as well. You, of course, have the wash itself, the mud wash. Why else would it be called Mud Max, right? So it's most pronounced at the thighs right here. It's pretty much pure mud right there. But then you get these really nice claw mark, like whiskers going on at the upper thighs as well. And this is the kind of stuff that people love in their archival denim, whether it is If 6 Was 9 or LGB or older like Dior Homme by Eddie Slama. This is the stuff that people go crazy for. Another mainstay staple of Mud Maxes are the piercings and embellishments. So as you can see, it is very heavily distressed. There's a lot of wear at various places here. Really nice. That one's like repaired in a really cool way. But most of these spots of distressing are actually pierced, and I think that's really cool. You've even got some up at the pocket here. It's a kind of like bronzed type of piercing, and they just like layer them and stack them everywhere that they can. And I think it's a really cool look how they just hang down here. They give it some weight and some more dimension than they would otherwise have. As you can see, you also get like patch paneling at the knees, and the back is heavily treated, whether it's more of that mud wash, more piercings, a kind of overstitched, repaired style going on here, and also bleaching that we haven't talked about yet going down the leg. So the treatment here is layered and diverse. Now, here is the big watch out that I would flag when you're shopping for If 6 Was 9 denim, and that is that good sizes are hard to find. They mostly make these in incredible small sizing. A lot of the pieces that you see flying around, like I believe this one, are really more intended for women. And you can see this one is a size 26, and that is one of the more common sizes that you'll see. So if you have like a quote unquote normal sized men's waist, you might be looking for a while, and definitely always check the measurements on these. So those gave us a great baseline, but now I think it's important to answer the question, what do you get if you order from If 6 Was 9 today? They have their Circus by Maniac web store where they ship internationally. So I picked up a pair of black denim jeans from them, brand new, that they shipped to me straight from Japan. And I want to see what If 6 Was 9 is up to with their denim now. Now, this is a different type of fit entirely, though still within the family of what you find within If 6 Was 9 stuff generally. And these are the LU SBCM jeans, and they're very different. Probably the biggest thing you'll notice right away is how different the rise is. Like, that's a massive rise, very high, very long. And that's because these are classified as a Sorel pants. I always have trouble pronouncing that word, but basically some people call them harem pants, even drop crotch. They all mean roughly the same thing, which is that you get this super long dropped rise here. You'll also note right away, this is a lace-up style, and I just love this. So this is like a braided leather lace with a lot of fringe at the end, very bohemian, and then with this beautiful leather going on here. You've got it trimmed with these metal eyelets. It's done really, really well here. And there's some other really great elements. You've got a zipper right here, I think probably making it easier to get on and off, but has a very like Rick Owens haircut type of look. You've got really beautiful adjustments with like a metal buckle here at each side. And then just working down, there's so much. So this is actually a pocket, but so is this, like a little cargo pocket right here. And you've got a ton of paneling and stuff, some of which is left raw with the seam. And as you get down the jeans, you get to the ankles where you've got a lot of optionality here. So you can see there's actually 2 zippers here, and one of them is actually backed behind it, so you can give it more of a flared cut. Whereas the other zipper just opens it up entirely, so you can wear it like totally open. And before you freak out on this, I do just want to note, there is a piece of fabric to back it here, so you're not just getting straight dong, thank God. And the back, I would say, is similar, but just a bit cleaner. So as you work down, you've got some pockets here, some really cool paneling. Again, this is a pocket in and of itself, like it's even lined, which is really cool. You get almost like intentional bunching right here, like that's stitched down so that it stays folded over like this. And then you can see the really nice shape of those zippers there. So thanks to the lace-up on these, the sizing is a lot more forgiving with this style. But even so, you've got to be careful because even this one is tagged a size 28, as you can see. So even though you've got some adjustability with the lace, it's still not going to be fitting somebody with like a large waist, you know? Okay, now it's time to start looking at our alternatives. And we're going to start right here with maybe a lesser known designer, Civiliz. So Civiliz is a really interesting one, and they aren't that well known in America or Europe because they actually only sell their stuff in Japan. So that means that their stuff really only ends up getting out there because of crazy Japanese archivists who collect this type of stuff and are really into Japanese flared denim and such. But this pair feels really tailor-made to substitute in for a pair of If 6 Was 9 Mud Maxes. It is simplified in some ways, but that also makes it much more accessible and wearable in an everyday sense. Now, first of all, the wash here is gorgeous. Like, it almost has a tie-dye look at points, but also like the whiskering here is perfect. You also have these heavily distressed and patched pieces, which I think look really great. And much like we saw on the Mud Maxes, this has some kind of colored treatment, but instead of bleach, it's actually painted and it looks like black, silver, and red even. Now, much like the SBBs, the bell bottoms we looked at, this does have a low rise. That's very common in this kind of category. And the legs are flared, but the hem is left raw here. Oh, that's fun on the inseam. I like that. There's some really nice little extras at the back here as well. I really like what they've done with these almost like hearts at the back pockets with the embroidery. And then you've got like this really cool patch hole right here, as well as more distressing and whiskering as you get down towards the ankles. Now, the best part about all of this is that unlike If 6 Was 9, you can get a pair of Civiliz jeans like this for often less than $100. And as you can see from all the treatments, it's really high quality, well done with a cool wash, like even like piping around some of the seams. And of course, made in Japan, which is a good indicator of quality, I would say. Now, I think I saved one of the best for last because this right here is one of my favorites of all 4, and this one is from the brand GOA. Now, there are just so many details on these that I absolutely adore. But first of all, you can see right away that this is very clearly a competitor to the If 6 Was 9 Mud Max denim styles. You've got a very distinct flare going on right here, not like the bell bottoms, but like some of the other more tame Mud Maxes. You get a similar paneling going on here with the leg, and of course you also get all of this stacked piercing detailing. Although I will say, I think I like the more weathered type of bronze one that If 6 Was 9 used, as opposed to these. They're just a bit cleaner, and they look a little less like authentic in a way, but still very cool. Now, one amazing thing about these is the backing behind the distressing, okay? Because it is like, I think, a waxed or like painted denim that they've put behind this, so it's got like a gloss to it, and that gives it a really unique texture. The other big thing you get is just a straight up fur flap going on right here at the waistband. You can see it's just folded over there, but that is real fur. I'm gonna assume it is rabbit dyed black. That's my guess here. I love this like embellished button. That's super sick. Zip fly. This is the only one of all four that has a zip fly. Interesting to note. And the rise here is a bit higher than the other ones. Like this, I would say, is like a mid-rise pair of jeans. The back has just as much to offer as the front. Like I really love the leather brand patch at the back of the waistband. And then you get more of the treatments here. And then going down, you've got some obligatory heel bite going on, but that's bound to happen. I ain't mad about it. And GOA pieces, while they are a bit harder to find than If 6 Was 9, because I think they just didn't make as much stuff, it is clearly a high quality and interesting piece of Japanese denim, one that can be had in the, I would say, $100 to $200 range for a pair like these. Holy cow, that's a lot of denim. Let me know right now if you have a favorite so far. I'm really curious to know what you think, but we've got to wear these. Obviously, we got a lot of jeans here, but we don't have a lot of shoes, a lot of shirts, a lot of anything else. So let's see what we're gonna pair these with. Okay, so I'm gonna keep this fit relatively simple because I really wanna focus on the jeans here. So for the top, I've got a really great piece from 14th Addiction, and I think this can serve as my top and my outerwear because it is like a hybrid layered piece with the hoodie and then the flannel over it with a lot of really nice like Japanese denim style distressed stuff going on. All of these are flared to some degree, so I think they'll sit really well on top of a pair of Rick Owens Abstract Ramones, nice and chunky. Then we'll accessorize, we'll do jewelry, we can do the Supreme Undercover studded baseball cap. I love that thing. Let's see what happens. All right, we have a lot of jeans to get through here. So we've got a death match going on. We've got to decide what is the best Japanese archive denim. There can only be one. Is If 6 Was 9 really the best of the best, or are there better, cheaper alternatives out there, and everyone buying this stuff are just little nerds going crazy for overexpensive Japanese stuff? Well, we won't know right away because first, let's throw on the shirt, okay? We've got this 14th Addiction layered flannel, so it's like a blue and black plaid, and it's got these really cool, almost like chrome hearts, like sterling hardware, which I love, and it's also got this hybrid gray zip-up hoodie thing going on. I love a zip-up hoodie, so this thing is just perfect for me. Okay, now it's time, and we'll go in the same order as the video, so we'll start with the big boys. We gotta set our standard here, but I do have to make an admission. On this channel, I've never sugarcoated it. I've always told you about both my W's and my L's, so I have a potential L to tell you about here. So I did get this first pair, the bell bottoms, on the resale market, and it was my first ever pair of If 6 Was 9 jeans. Now, I know how insane Japanese sizing can get, so I definitely checked the measurements quite closely, but the problem is I have never had a pair of pants with a rise that is this low. Like there's nothing there. And that really changes how the waist fits because I am widest at the hips and then I get skinnier above. So basically the higher waisted the pants are, the smaller of a waist measurement I can go with. So the waist measurement looks like it would be perfect for me. But then I got them and I put them on and you'll see right here, they are so tight in the waist and then the thighs as well. And that's because these have the cut and style of like, I don't know, a 2000s pop star, like early Alexander McQueen bumster levels of low cut. Like if I didn't have underwear on, you wouldn't just be seeing crack, you'd be seeing entire buns, you know? So yeah, super tight. I think these are clearly made for a women's figure. Like I think this would fit, you know, maybe like a 5'7" skinny woman well, like that's who they're made for. And I'm a Japanese archive weirdo trying to make them work for me as a 5'10" man. Now, regardless of that, they are very cool. The wash is so good. The huge bell bottoms are awesome. All the piercings and stuff, so cool. So let me know in the comments what you think. Should I try and make them work? Have any of you ever had a pair of jeans like this adjusted to fit better? If so, what did you do? Should I just sell them? Do they not work at all? Let me know. But thankfully, we do have another shot at If 6 Was 9 glory. We've got one more option here. They aren't Mud Maxes, but they are the coveted SBCM lace-ups. And these are instantly incredibly different. They fit me way better, but they're also super high-waisted, incredibly high waist, but both with the lace-up and like the air cut style side asymmetrical zip, they're so easy to get on and they fit great. They've also got some stretch to them. They're not pure cotton. They've got a little like polyurethane in there, but they are very much a drop crotch pair of pants. So it's a very different type of fit. You can see from behind, there's all that extra fabric there. I tend to think it's a cool look. Obviously, as a Rick Owens fan and whatnot, I'd be a hypocrite if I didn't like this to some degree. But it's very much a preferential thing, so I can also see why someone would prefer the bell-bottom Mud Maxes. But the lace-ups on these are awesome. All of the paneling is really cool. And I also like the optionality that you get with all the different zippers at the ankles. Like there's one that you can do that just makes it a little bit more flared, not too noticeable. But then the other one, you can open them up completely so they're way more like flowy and floppy. So I think these work way better for me on a lot of different levels. And it doesn't hurt that these can also be gotten for, I would say, a bit cheaper than the crazy bell-bottom Mud Maxes. All right, so that's our baseline. That is the If 6 Was 9 stuff. But now we've got two pairs that are way cheaper and also seem to be very high quality and interesting. So let's see what they can offer, starting with the Civiliz jeans. And these are instantly much more accessible, much more wearable. I think they just look much cleaner, I guess, and wear cleaner than either of the If 6 Was 9 pairs. Like there's nothing really overwrought about these in any way. They're just a good pair of blue jeans with a really nice light wash, some distressing, and some flared legs. But the cut here is really good. The inseam is perfect for me. The rise makes a bit more sense. They are still, I would say, low rise, but like in a manageable way, a very manageable way. So these I could see being much more of like an everyday pair of jeans, something I don't have to like think about too hard and will work with a wide variety of stuff. So at an entry-level price point, which I would say most Civiliz jeans are, at least for the Japanese archive, these are a great pickup. And finally, the last pair we've got for this video are the GOA black denim flared jeans. And after getting them on, I mean, we might have saved the best for last. I really like the cut here. These are, I would say, just a normal mid-rise, which is usually my preference. And I also think I would say that the inseam is my favorite of them so far. Actually, the cut of these is really reminiscent of the first pair of blind date jeans that I ever got, which I've got a video about on the channel. So these, honestly, they're hitting a lot of the same notes for me as the Mud Maxes, but again, in a more accessible and wearable way because the flare isn't nearly as crazy. Obviously, they fit me better than the Mud Maxes. And then there's a bunch of cool elements still with the piercings and especially the rabbit fur flap. It's weird, but I like it. I'm a big fan of like vintage furs, you know? And I think as far as a look as well, with the rest of these, you know, the Supreme hat and the Rick shoes and the 14th edition shirt, I think this one pulls the fit together the best out of everything as well. But that being said, I don't know if I'm ready to say that these are my favorite of the bunch, because there are things that I like about each of these in different ways. And keep in mind, these aren't the only If 6 Was 9 alternatives out there, because If 6 Was 9 is maybe like the top of the crop. You know what I mean? You can also get stuff from their sister brand LGB for usually a bit cheaper than If 6 Was 9. Or you could look to 14th Edition, who have a lot of really great jeans, again, usually less than If 6 Was 9. As I mentioned a little while ago, Blind Date, who are actually like luxury and archive resellers for the most part, they make some really great Japanese style denim that's some of my favorite stuff. There's also brands like Fuga, Buffalo Bob's, Jack Rose. Basically all these different brands that are listed under just like, quote, Japanese brand on Grailed, you know? And all of those are usually more affordable than If 6 Was 9. Man, what a haul, what a haul. Let me know what your favorite is. Let me know what I should do about that first pair, especially. Should I keep it? Should I sell it? Should I try to adjust it? Is it just something I should let go because it won't work for me? I don't know. I'm excited to hear what you think. All right, that's the video. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know, do you like the If 6 Was 9 Mud Max style? Do you like any other Japanese archive brands? Are there good modern alternatives out there that you would suggest instead? Help everyone out. Throw it down below in the comments. Do all these engagement things that help me in the YouTube algorithm. And I'll see you next time.